Good afternoon. This is a YouTube video made for post 3432 to introduce the POS screens and ask you if you can see any room for improvement. This is the main screen for the post. You can see the numeric keypad and different options that will be covered over time: the manager key, the time clock key, reports, exit, training. But in general, people will start by coming in the morning and punching in. So Melissa's number given is 1662. So when Melissa punches in, she clicks on time clock. She's clocking in, so she clicks on clock in, and she's 1662. It says you're about to punch in as a bartender, and we say okay. She's going to punch in at 2:58 p.m. We say okay, and now Melissa's punched in and ready to work. If we use Melissa's number, we also do that to get in. So you will have a number, 1662, enter, and it brings up the first screen. Any of these different screens can be the default screen. Right now, this is the most common default screen, which is your beer menu. But the default screen could be a pictorial of your seats at your bar and your tables. There are no seats showing here, so don't think that you have a problem with your screen. But this is where we would put the layout of the dining room and the bar once we get a picture of it. Another way to get to the back to this screen is to click on that button there. The food menu could be the default menu. If there was one in the dining room, for example, it'll show the burger, wings, and we'll go through these menu choices here in a little bit. But at this point, I'm just showing that you can have as your default screen different screens that have been prepared. Here's a breakfast screen, for example. So breakfast is some of the first things that we would have. So let's take the eggs and toast. In the eggs and toast category, right now we have 4 choices. So the eggs and toast with potato is $3.50. Here's some of the choices that you would have with the eggs and toast. Over easy, with an extra egg. You click on the gray when you're done if it's a multiple choice. So if only one choice could be made here, it automatically changes. If there was multiple choices that could have been done, like in this one here, you may have both peppers and onion. And now it showed over here peppers and onions. So as you're building your order, it'll show here in the screen. To move on, when there's multiple choices available, you must click on the header. And so now we have that order. To send that order to the kitchen, we will use this button down here at the bottom, the send button. So this send button sends it to the kitchen and then automatically returns us to the default menu. In this case, again, the default menu could be any of these tabs, but we have it set as the beer. So if in this case somebody had a Blue Moon and a Bud Light, that would total to $5.50. Typically you could hit the cash button here for what we call a quick sale. So hitting the cash gives us 6 options. What do I mean by 6 options? Well, the total due is $5.50. One of the options is they gave us the exact amount of cash, $5.50. Another option is they gave us next dollar up. Next dollar up means the next dollar up from the amount due. It'll change with every tab. In this case, $6 is the next dollar up. These 4 other dollar bills are defaults, and they'll be in every transaction as a possibility. So the $5 bill, the $10 bill, the $20 bill, and the $50 bill will also be a possibility. Now, besides these 6 options, you could use this keyboard to key in any dollar amount that you received. If you got $13.62, you could key in 13.62. But we're going to use $10 here as an example, so that when we hit enter, we should have change of $4.50. And indeed, it shows us $4.50. Please close the cash drawer. And as always, returns us to the default menu. Now, the default menu here is the one-touch buttons with the icon showing for them. We also have another group here that are shown in categories, bottled beer. So here in alphabetical order, you have all the bottled beers shown. Sam Aston. Here's the can of beers. Again, pick. Here's the drafts that are available. Pick. And here's the pitchers of beer that have been given to us. Pick. At this time, I'd like to cover corrections. So corrections are loosely divided into 3 categories. The most common correction is considered last item. In our system, the last item is grade. So most of the time, the error that we discover is we just touch the button and we think to ourselves, oh, I didn't want to hit that. So the last item. To clear the last item, you simply hit the correct button. This goes away. The customer would never see this, but management would see that you had made a correction. And then you can simply pick the correct item. And now we have a new balance of $9.75. The second way to do a correction is before we send or pay, but it's not the last item. So in this case, the last item was a Twisted Tea, but let's say we wanted to get rid of the Sam Adams Boston. In that case, we would need to make that grayed out instead of Twisted Tea. So if you touch Twisted Tea, it won't be gray anymore. And when you touch Sam Adams Boston, it turns gray. Again, using the correct button will let us fix that. The other way is that you are in the middle of this transaction and you're just completely lost. So you're thinking to yourself, oh boy, I'd rather just start over. And the way you start over is this X all. X all. So you click X all and they say, I'm going to have you remove everything. Are you sure? You say yes, and indeed you're back to a blank slate. Again, the last item will be grade. I just did Budweiser as my last item. To correct that, I just simply use the correct button. To correct something that has not been paid for but is not my last item, I click on that item and turn it gray, and then I use the correct button again. And to start all over, because I was a little bit confused, I click on the X all. Yes. Those are the 3 most common corrections of errors. So normally in a fast bar, you're going to say, give me a beer, give me a beer, give me some cash, and pay for it. We'll close the drawer and then move on. Give me a beer, cash. $20 bill, $15 of change, and move on. And then so on, continue on. It's a speedy way of doing it. But if you had, in this case, a liquor, you have the specific call brands here. And you have the categories here. So all the bourbons will be listed. To get out of a screen, you hit the gray header. All of the scotch and brandies. All of the vodkas. All of the whiskeys. Drag bar to drag down. Pick your whiskey. If you wanted to have mixers that cost extra money, you have a mixer key. Add Red Bull. If you have some drink prep, right now the drink preps is a blank button, but you can tell us what drink preps you'd like and we can add those. We've got a beverage button here that's showing all your beverages. And we've got a specials button that right now is blank. We also have a cocktails of A to G in alphabetical order. And we also have H to Z. We have some blank keys here, so as we start to use the system, we can be able to have you add more items easily. At this point, I'm going to pay for this. No, let's say that I want to totally get out of this. So if you remember, one of these two buttons is used to get totally out, and I'm sure you remember it's the X, get rid of all. Get rid of all and say yes. So a lot of these buttons on the bottom are going to be the same regardless if we're in the beer screen or the bar screen or the food screen or the breakfast screen. So let's go back to breakfast. We had started a breakfast tab at the very beginning of our demonstration, and they want to add some beverages to it. So they want to put their coffee. So we go to the listing of the checks and we look, and there's the eggs with toast and potato. Over easy, this is the one we're looking for. So you can select it here under the table, and to select it down here, you pick the select button. Now I believe that a lot of the beverages were in the bar screen in the bottom. So there's the bar screen, here's the beverages. So let's look at another option here. They want some coffee, but they want, let's say, 2 coffees. So I can use this button and say 2 coffees. And that shows 2 at $1.50 for a total of 3. So these numbers here, 1 to 19, 1 to 9, can be used to put in multiples. At this point in time, if I was going to print the check for this customer, I would use this button here called print, and I would click it, and it's printing now at the printer here in my room, but you can't see that. It's a simple designation. It shows everything that was on that screen. Finally, that customer will bring that check piece of paper up to the bar, and we know it was check 7. So when they bring that up to the bar, you will go into the listing of checks. They give you a $10 bill for this $9.36 item. So you'll be picking the tab. You'll see the check number right on the piece of paper that they hand you, so it'll be easy for you to refer to what check they're paying. You'll pick select. You can go to the quick cash button, or you can go to the pay screen where there'll be options to put in a credit card tip if you're using credit cards. But in this case here, we're going to use cash. We're going to say of the $9.36, they're giving us a $10 bill. So their change is 64 cents. Okay. Again, to start a new tab, we don't have to do anything other than to go to, let's say, the food or breakfast menu, or they could start a tab with bar and beer. Let's start a tab under food. So food, we have burgers. These are the burgers that were given to us and their price. Let's say a hamburger. How's it going to be done? Well, Pittsburgh rare, obviously. And here's one where it looks like we have multiple choices. So we can stay in here and pick, and they'll add up underneath Pittsburgh rare. So they want onion, tomato, and pepper. And it shows those 3 with the 25 cents for each one. Because we're done, we're going to use the header at the top. Now here's another nice thing about our system, what we call intelligent condiment correction. Intelligent condiment correction means that I can fix these condiments without having to get rid of the whole hamburger. Lots of times if you make a mistake in a system, you have to get rid of the hamburger and start over. But we're going to say that they didn't really want pepper, they wanted mushrooms or something. All you do is turn it gray like we do when we were doing our other corrections. Use the correct button, and it's going to bring us back to that question about toppings. So we hit correct, and we really wanted mushrooms. And when we hit the header record, that's all we had to do to make that simple correction to the condiment chain. So any condiment chain repair correction is going to be very easy to do. So besides what we had in the burgers, we also have down here the no extras and add. So here we could also hit the add button and it'll show condiments, the extra condiments, and the no condiments. I can see that that is not completed, so I'm making my own note to make sure that we get those available for you. We also have a message. These are going to be common messaging that you send to the kitchen. You'll be able to choose and make as many of these messages as are needed in your operation. But with the master one is this type in. And in the type in, I can type anything I want to type in. And that'll show up to anything I want underneath the menu item that you're referring to. And that'll show up in the kitchen as a message from you to the cook. So we had the burgers that we looked at. To get out, I hit the header record. Subs. Here's all the subs that we were given. You'll be able to pause this video if you want to study it to make sure that I've got them all. Cheese steak with lettuce and mayo. Header record to complete. Small plates. We have the cheese steak, the chicken fingers, and the quesadilla. Wings. We have the 12 wing. And we can say they're honey mustard. We could have said 6 wings, 3 mild, 3 ranch. In that case, I don't see that showing up there, so I'll have to double check that. And then sandwiches, crab cake, lettuce, mayo, onion. Finish with my toppings, hit the header record. Wraps. There's the bacon, chicken, combo ham, and turkey. I picked turkey. Choices and condiments. Dressing. And all the time that'll be building up here, and now that we've exceeded the space, there'll be a drag bar here to see what else is happening in this check. I'm going to use the get rid of all so I can start over and clear the screen to show you more food choices. Over here we have appetizers in alphabetical order. Pierogies. Being Polish, I like pierogies. Salads. Steak salad with blue cheese dressing. Soups. You've got a lot of very nice soups, bowls and cups. So that's the extent of all of the food related buttons. Appetizers, salads, soups, beverages, same as the beverage one that we looked at before, veteran coffee. The add, extra, and the no aren't filled in right now. I'll have to double check on those. And then we would possibly send that to the kitchen. Now if you do have multiple people on one check, we have a way to split those checks. So you come into a tab. Let's say there's two people sitting at breakfast. The first person, you can just order their breakfast. Sausage patty. And then when you want the second person's tab to be separated, you can hit the Add Seat button. Add Seat. What the Add Seat button did is it not only set up seat 2, but it put the first part that you ordered under seat 1. Now with these two seats, we'll be able to create two separate checks. So the second person wants eggs and toast. Extra egg over easy. Wheat toast. Cheese. And then we would send that check. It happens to be, by the way, check 16 here. Send it. So when that person, they want to add their coffees to it, the server forgot to put their coffees on, it's check 16. And they pick it. It shows seat 1 and seat 2. So when I pick the coffees, we're under both breakfasts. If the one person, you see how the seat 1 is grayed out? If they had vet, well, I think I gave the second guy the veteran stuff. So let's say he had vet coffee. Then I'd have to touch seat 2 to make that gray colored. So when I went to the beverages and put his chocolate or hot chocolate on there, now they're set up the same way. Send that check. Now at this time, to see the checks that are saved, I hit the List of Checks button. And it was check 16. There they are, the two seats. Now when I select it, and now I want to print out two separate checks from this. So that's what we call splitting the check. Splitting the check is down right here where it says split. So you split the check. It shows you the first person had senior egg with veterans coffee, and the second person had the eggs with toast potato and hot chocolate. Now when you touch the green, when you touch the original check, it turns both of the headers green, and this create checks is what separates these two checks. So because this check has the tag 16 on it, when I hit create checks, I'm pretty sure that Melissa's check with the egg potato will probably become check 17, but let's see. So again, I was here on the main menu after I brought up my check and they wanted it to be printed. I touched split. Then in order to have both checks created, I hit the original tab. As I toggle between that, it turns them ungreen and then green, not green, green. When I hit the create checks, which that key is intentionally made green, so when I hit the create checks button, that split the two into two separate checks that I could hand to my people at the table. It would have printed them. They're printed here. But now when I look at list, there's the check 16, and then check 17 is the one that had the toast and potato. I could print that check, and then when they bring it to me, I would pay it by hitting the cash button and hitting the $10 button. Enter. First one's gone. The second person's going to be bringing up check 16. List, bring up check 16, select, and then pay for it. The $10 bill. Enter. Okay, so the main purpose of this is to give you a little bit of a head start and to basically make sure that the menu that we are showing here, basically we're kind of testing the food screen, the bar screen, the beer screen, and the breakfast screen. So let's stay on this breakfast screen for a second. We got the eggs and toast. We've got the omelets. We've got the pancakes. We've got the hunky. We've got the sauce for the hunky. And then the mixed for the hunky. We've got the chipped beef with the toast. And we've got the French toast. $1 more for raisin bread. I'm going to get rid of these because we don't want to fill up the check too much. Go back to the breakfast and look at the senior. Look at the senior omelets. You can pause it if I'm going too fast. The senior pancakes. The senior hunky. The senior chipped beef. And the senior French toast. I'll get rid of those. So that's the breakfast menu, in addition to the sides. It's easy for us to add a few to these. The sandwiches, breakfast sandwich. That was sandwiches. And we have the chicken fried steak. It's $3. We got Sir John's special. We've got the messages screen. And we got the drinks screen. The food button was similar. We had the burgers, the subs, small plates, the wings, the sandwiches, and the wraps, along with appetizer list, salad list, soup list, beverages. We had the bar screen showing your liquors, both specific ones and full lists. I'm going to clear out what's on our screen. Look at this speed bar. So the speed bar is to be able to go a combination of your most common drinks and write the cash. $16, they give you 20. Next, please. Right now it doesn't return to speed bar, but you could have it return to speed bar if you wanted that to be your main. That's speedy. You've got an open beer button here in case you had a new beer that hadn't been put in yet. You can put in how much it is and pay for it. Okay. So I hope that this is helpful in letting you see what a lot of the screens look like. I will be calling a little bit later today to make sure that I went slow enough and left the screens up long enough for it to have made sense to you. Thanks again.